laws have changed. Are they in practice now? Do we do these on a regular basis?
Well, yes. I mean, I don't know that people think of it as the 8 laws, although I got to that because I spent 20 years studying social transformation movements, and I discovered that regardless of where these movements were taking place, what culture, what nation, for what purpose, that they all seem to resolve themselves by finding these 8 laws and focusing on them and beginning to use them. Basically, it's very straightforward, is that every choice you make, you do so to foster well-being. So when you go to the store, every day we make hundreds of little bitty choices. The toothpaste you buy, the cat food you buy, the dog food, the toilet paper, whatever it is. And if you make the commitment that every choice you're going to make will be one that fosters well-being, that is, you'll only buy things from companies that are trying, for instance, to become environmentally active. If you choose to be supportive of well-being and you tell your friends that that's what you're doing and you invite them to do it, we know from research that was done at Van Rensselaer Polytech, for instance, that when 10% of any cohort, whether it's a school group, a church group, or a nation, changes in consciousness, that the whole group, for good or ill, has to change to accommodate. I mean, 2 obvious examples right now are the sort of Proud Boy QAnon movement on the one side and the Black Lives Matter ecological movement on the other, each of which has reached a point where 10% of the people are in fact interested and committed to those, and we are all, as a result, having to accommodate ourselves to that.
Is that part of the 8 different laws?
Yes.
All right, Stephen, We're going to take a break. Hold on. We're going to come back and talk more about that and consciousness. And we'll take calls with you next hour on Coast to Coast. Stephen Schwartz with us. His website is his name, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. We shall be back in a moment. Don't touch your dial on Coast to Coast AM.
The Coast website is now streamlined for mobile devices. Great news if you're a Coast insider or simply want to enjoy our website on your phone. Visit coasttocoastam.com on your iPhone or Android browser.
From the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy is dead after an ambush shooting in Yucca Valley. Deputies tried to pull over a motorcyclist for not having a license plate. He took off, ditched the bike, and fired on the deputies from behind the bushes, striking one of them. A shootout ensued and the motorcyclist was killed as well. 2 weeks ago, a man from Anaheim posted bail in an assault case. Now David Abbott is back in jail, accused of attacking 2 men. One of them a 70-year-old who later died at the hospital. A successful landing on the 101 freeway. The pilot of a small plane touched down safely last night in Westlake Village. The nature of the pilot's emergency is under investigation. Southland weather from KFI. Patchy fog this morning, then sunny and warm later. Mid-60s at the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s, Metro LA and Orange counties. Mid to upper 80s in the valleys and the Inland Empire. A little warmer tomorrow. Right now it's 60 in Fountain Valley, Lake Forest 57, Brentwood 61, and in Sylmar 71 degrees. We lead local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Phil Hewlett.
Making your way through Riverside this morning, westbound side of the 91 past La Sierra, wreck involving a big rig and a vehicle facing the wrong way. Everything's in the right lane. Crews are on the scene. Your right bunch is up here from Tyler Street. Heading out of Mid-City toward downtown, eastbound side of the 10 before Hoover. 2-car crash in the right lane. CHP's in the scene. They're waiting on a tow truck to arrive. And in Van Nuys, if you're southbound on the 405 of Burbank Boulevard, big rig broke down. That's in the right lane. Watch for looky-loos as you approach. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Ryan Duggan.
We've been doing this for years now, and I just can't figure out how they narrow this list down to just 5 reasons. I mean, the casino is just freaking huge. Thousands of slots as far as the eye can see. Rows and rows of table games. The hotel is just stunning. The bars and lounges are next level. And the food. They have culinary delights from almost every corner of the world. And it's not just me. Ask her.
Are you kidding me? Morongo is my favorite place to go to rejuvenate and invigorate my senses. I'll start the day on the lazy river, then the spa for a hot stone treatment, then hit one of the new slots right at the center of the casino.
Look, we're going to need more time to explore this place, but if you're looking for a reason to go to Morongo, don't worry. You've got a million. Morongo Casino Resort and Spa, the newest, friendliest, and safest casino resort. Morongo, good times.
Still buying bottled water? Really? Eliminate the cost and hassle of buying, well, it's wasteful plastic water bottles, what it does to the environment. So let me suggest a LifeSource whole house water filtration system, where you can have this delicious, clean, filtered water coming out of every tap in your home. And there are no filters to change. Once they install it, no maintenance at all. You actually forget about it. And what the LifeSource water system does, reduces the odor and taste of chlorine from your water. And not only are you hydrating your body, your skin, your hair will thank you too. You're buying directly from the factory, which provides installation and customer service for the life of your system. They've been around for 36 years here in Southern California. And if you're looking to join a growing team, LifeSource is hiring team members in your area. Call 800-334-5009, 800-334-5009. Visit LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource Water. Taste and feel the difference.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk.
Our workforce that is not being helped at all by this economy. This has nothing to do with the White House, by the way. This is simply the way it's rolling. So, you expecting me to say, aha, Trump!
Nope. Bill Handel.
This has nothing to do with the president.
Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI. KFI AM 640.
with George Noory.
We'll be back in a moment with Stephen Schwartz as we talk about consciousness, UFOs. Wait till you hear him talk about remote viewing when we come back as well. ParanormalDate.com keeps cruising along, only 280 people shy of 111,000 signed up members. That's it. Free to sign up. Give it a try. at paranormaldate.com.
And you know, sometimes you want to meet someone a bit more mature, and we've got you covered there too. How about paranormaldate.com/seniors? That's just for you. Sign up for free, meet that special person. People that think like you do. It's paranormaldate.com/seniors.
Now here's something that's not quite the fountain of youth, but pretty darn close.
If you need to look fresh for the day or a night out, you need Instantly Ageless. Instantly Ageless is an affordable way to immediately tighten and smooth your skin. Simply apply a small amount and enjoy results in minutes. Great for under eye bags, hooded eyes, forehead wrinkles, eyebrows, facial pores, and crow's feet. No needles, no pain, and great for women and men. Instantly Ageless was featured on The Doctor.
We're going to put it to the test with our good friend, Dr. Sonia Batra. So what is this product?
So this is a product we're going to see if it works. It's called Instantly Ageless. And the idea is that it works very quickly. Is you just need a very small amount, and then you apply it to areas where you might be a little bit puffy. I have just looked at what's in this product, and I've looked at the ingredients, and one of them is something called argireline, which is sort of a darling in dermatology right now. It's a peptide or a protein that actually relaxes the muscle. It's also called Botox in a bottle. It's meant to relax muscle and work like Botox.
I mean, you can literally see it working as you're
the other active ingredient in this is silicates, which are almost like a clay. They're minerals, and they're making the skin sort of tighter. It's actually increasing the surface tension on the skin to push that herniated fat pad.
Millions of applications of Instantly Ageless have been sold, and you can't buy it in stores. Order a box today with smart delivery and free shipping. Just enter discount code George. If you would like to sample Instantly Ageless, try our starter kit, hassle-free, for only $19.99 with free shipping. Instant beauty, stunning results, Instantly Ageless. Order now at healthylooking.com. That's healthylooking.com or 24/7 at 800-604-3129. That's 800-604-3129. Instantly Ageless from healthylooking.com.
This message, sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your own goals? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And you can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online with a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas, hence you do it this way. And you'll get timely, thoughtful responses, and you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. And it's very affordable, more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Visit BetterHelp.com/George. That's BetterHelp, HELP. Join the more than 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for you. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/George.
Now, are you on the investment treadmill? You know, saving and saving and saving cash for retirement? Well, guess what? Whatever you're saving will not be worth much when you retire. Cash is trash. You have to make your money work for you. You might already have all the money you need, but maybe you're not using it right. You're probably relying on stocks or mutual funds, when really you need to diversify. Opening a gold IRA, for instance, gives you an instant cash injection and gets your returns soaring. With gold likely to go to $2,500 an ounce this year, it's a perfect time. That's some boost, huh? If you feel like this could be the answer for you, call the team at Noble Gold. Take out a qualifying IRA this month and they'll gift a solid gold 22-karat 1/10 ounce American Eagle bullion coin. Visit our website now at noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com for the American Eagle offer.
And welcome back. Stephen Schwartz with us, and George Norrie here as we talk about transformation, UFOs, consciousness. You've got it all, Stephen. My gosh.
Well, I've been at it a long time.
You sure have. You sure. Tell me about your remote viewing. How did you get involved in this aspect, especially the remote viewing healing aspect?
Well, I got interested in remote viewing. I got interested in remote viewing because, as I said, I got introduced to the Casey material, the Edgar Casey. And in a sense, Edgar Casey is the best documented remote viewer who ever existed. And so I read all his readings. There's 14,000 or something. It took me years. And then I started reading everything that had been published in the parapsychological literature up to that date in the peer-reviewed journals, and then lots and lots of books. And in 1968, I decided to start experimenting. And so I'm one of the small group, Hal Putoff, Russ Targ, myself,
all the biggies,
a little group who created remote viewing. And remote viewing is really, I mean, people have been doing it for thousands of years.
Right.
But remote viewing is a protocol or a series of protocols. It's a way of doing, acquiring non-locally sourced information under conditions of such rigor that they are defensible against criticism. So, for instance, a typical remote viewing experiment that in fact, I'm doing an experiment right now, is I ask people to describe a target, a location on Earth, and at the time that they provide me the description, it doesn't exist as a target. I mean, it may exist as a place, but it has not been designated as a target.
By you.
That only happens after they have given me the information. So at the time that they do this, nobody knows what the target is going to be. And yet people can routinely, in fact, just before we did this interview, I was doing analysis of the experiment, and we're looking at an 83% hit rate.
That's amazing. It really is.
Now, once you figure out how to do it properly, you can get very high quality data, and it's actually, I think some people, it scares them, because what you realize very quickly when you do this is that there are no secrets. You can get anything.
Did you work at all with the government's remote viewing program, or did you come afterwards?
No, I came actually before that even existed. No, I turned down government funding because I would not do classified research. I felt that given the current state of our civilizations, that if anybody knew anything about consciousness, it ought to be made available to everybody. Now, not everybody agreed with me, I understand that, but I turned down, I was approached by and turned down funding, considerable funding, from the government because they wanted to classify it. And I have always been focused particularly on what practical applications you can do with it. So my experiments particularly, other than the healing experiments, the remote viewing experiments, I have looked at archaeology, for instance. How do you locate and describe archaeological sites? I've found Cleopatra's Palace, Mark Antony's Palace, the Lighthouse of Pharos, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, one of Christopher Columbus's caravels, the Brig Leander. All over the world I've done this, and I have watched, and in fact you can go to my personal website, stephaneschwartz.com, and look at the movies. I made films of these things, so there'd be no question about what was going on. And you can watch, for instance, if you search on the Alexandria Project, you can watch a parts manager from a Chrysler dealership and a woman photographer, both of whom working together out of 1,200 square kilometers, locate a single buried building in a buried city and describe things that will be found at the site that are as small as 5/8 of an inch. So there's, I say, once you figure out how to do this properly, and there's it's a skill set. People, I've tested 23,000 people, and what I discovered is that this ability is spread through the population just like any other ability. That is, there are a few people that are the Michael Jordans, whatever, they're the very best of the best.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because they're famous or they're rich or that they've studied some particular path or anything. They have just an innate ability. In fact, there are two parts to this. One is your innate ability, and that's something you're born with. And the other is whether you can develop a discipline which will allow you to attain and sustain intention-focused awareness. And if you can do that, and you understand how these protocols work, I've solved murders, we've solved bombings, for the police. Nova made a program at one point about one thing that we had done about solving the murder of a young Amish girl. There really is, I don't know what the limit is. What I also have learned, though, George, is that the ability to remote view in its various ways is also related to how you have creative breakthroughs. And, if you look at people who are world famous, historically famous, Einstein says, for instance, he sees the theory of relativity when one afternoon when he's whiling away the time in a canoe after he'd been sick. Nikola Tesla says he has a vision as he's walking across Central Park that gives him the idea, not just the idea, he sees how to make an electric motor. Descartes has 3 dreams in Ulm, Germany in 1619 that make him a world historical figure when he writes down what he learns, and on and on and on. And the same thing is true, as I pointed out earlier, to people who have spiritual epiphanies. When you open to this aspect of the self, this non-local aspect that is independent of the physiology of your brain, it's important to remember, for instance, talk about changing consciousness, over 13 million people have had a near-death experience in the United States alone, and those are only the ones that have reported it.
Right. How many haven't said a word about it yet? How many how many people have kept quiet?
Many more.
Yeah.
Many more. But 13 million people have registered them. And you think about that, and you think about the families of those people who hear the stories. You think about the doctors and the nurses who attended these people when they had these experiences. And the research has now been done so meticulously that the idea that this is some sort of hallucination or that this is some ketamine-like experience of a dying brain and all that kind of criticism, it just doesn't hold up. The reality is that if you look at the reincarnation research, if you look at the near-death research, if you look at the remote viewing research, if you look at the creativity research, if you look at the spiritual epiphany research, over and over, all of these things all center on the ability to open to this non-local aspect of consciousness.
And would you say remote viewing is tied into consciousness? I would think it would be.
Remote viewing is a protocol for accessing non-local consciousness. That's what it is. I mean, we created it. As I said, I started in 1968. The SRI guys came along in the early 70s.
That was Ingo and those guys, right? Ingo Swan and those guys?
Ingo, Russell Targ, Hal Putoff, Ed May, Pat Price, that group of people, the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Group under Bob DeJohn and Brenda Dunn, Roger Nelson, the Global Consciousness Project.
Right.
It's a small group of researchers all over the world. There are maybe, if I were guessing, I would say there are about 300 of us who have been doing this kind of research. And what's happening is in other branches of science, the neurosciences particularly, but also physics, researchers who started out as materialists confront their own data. And it leads them to begin to recognize what Max Planck told us in 1931. In 1931, Max Planck, who was the father of quantum mechanics, who was obviously a very famous scientist, who didn't give very many interviews. The Observer newspaper in England got him to give an interview, and they said to him, you know, Dr. Planck, you and Einstein are the most famous scientists in the world. What have you learned? And I don't know what they thought he was going to say, but what he said was, what I have learned is that consciousness is causal and fundamental. Space-time arises from consciousness, not consciousness from space-time. You cannot get behind consciousness. It is the fundamental of everything.
Is it God, Stephen?
God is, I believe, the term that people develop to describe transcendental experiences.
Because they
there is a unity of consciousness, not just humans, but all the living beings on the planet, and I suspect all the beings on other planets. But you know, we were talking earlier about UFOs. I suspect that all consciousness is at some level linked, and that what we call reality is in fact an expression of consciousness and creating the physical manifestation of what are informational architectures of consciousness. You know, Einstein, when they asked him about this, he said, well, reality is an optical delusion. Not illusion, delusion. Planck, Einstein, Pauli, Heisenberg, Schrödinger, all these great German and other physicists that created modern physics all eventually confronted the reality of consciousness as the causal fundamental.
Now, how do you use remote viewing to heal?
Well, the first thing they are related phenomena. They may be the same phenomena, just in a different manifestation. The first thing is, you know, a whole group of people take, again, the Edgar Cayce material. You know, Cayce was really the father of holistic medicine.
Yeah.
Would give these readings in which he would describe people and their physical conditions and recommend activities or treatments that they should undergo that would help them to restore their well-being.
And many times he never even saw the people or met them.
No, he never saw the people. He never met them. You know, a typical reading would be, he'd say things like, this is how I got interested in remote viewing, because I realized that all the senses reported. You know, he'd say things like, yes, we have the body, and oh my goodness, it's a very large body wearing striped pajamas. Or he would say, oh, we have the body, oh, there's a window that's open and this beautiful smell of jasmine is coming into the room. And they'd get a letter from the person who got the reading, or a friend of theirs or something, who would say, oh yes, you know, she's gained a lot of weight and she was wearing a striped pajamas. Or when the reading was given. Or they would say, oh, you know, it was such a beautiful spring day, we opened the window and the jasmine smell came into the room. And so I realized that all the senses reported. And so my first experiments, where I built a grid in my back garden in Virginia Beach, where I was living at the time, I went down to a ship's chandler and I got some yellow nylon line, and I made a grid, a 12-foot square grid. So that each grid was a foot, and I would bury 35 millimeter film canisters or mason jars, and I'd put things in them, and then I would make a mimeograph. That's how old this is. I would make a mimeograph of that chart and send it out all over the world to friends of mine, and I would say to them, I'd like you to locate, I have buried something in this grid. I would like you to locate the grid that I have buried it in, and once you have located it, I'd like you to tell me what it is. Describe it for me. And I discovered people could do it. And so I went to a statistician who I was very happy about this, and he said, well, it'd be even more impressive if you had a bigger grid. So I made eventually a grid of 144 squares. Didn't make any difference. And I would bury them in one of the 144 squares, and I would say, I mean, I'll give you one example. My wife had a perfume bottle that had a little rubber squeegee thing that made the spray of the perfume on her dressing table, and so I took this this little perfume spray, and I put it in a mason jar, and I buried it in the grid, and I sent it to a friend who was in France, and he sent back to me, and he drew a picture of what was very clearly the little spray bottle, and he said, in this thing, whatever it is, there's a very heavy smell of flowers. And of course, that's what it was. It was a perfume bottle with a flower smell in it. So I discovered that people could do this, and then I thought, well, what a practical utility could I do? And I met an archaeologist, and he began, and I studied anthropology at university, and he said, well, you know, the big problem in archaeology right now is where to dig. You know, most of the journals are filled with these discussions because most of the finds that we make are serendipitous. That is, a farmer's plowing a field and turns up a tomb, or somebody's building a road and turns up a temple, and they just kind of stumble across these things. He said it'd be wonderful if we could locate things, and, you know, very specifically. And I thought, well, what I called then distant viewing, I thought, well, that'd be perfect. So I began with the talking idol of Ixchel, which is on Cozumel Island, and this young archaeologist and I, he asked me, can you locate this thing and describe what we'll find? And we did.
Hold on, Stephen. Let's come back and talk more about this and take phone calls next on Coast to Coast AM.
Find out more about tonight's guest. Log on to coasttocoastam.com.
Read the details, because I'm a lady.
I don't even think this is sweet. Because you're a lady? Come on. Gary and Shannon, weekdays at 10 a.m. on KFI.
Masks don't slow us down. They keep us moving. From the corner store to the coffee shop. On your bike. Or on the playground. Keep wearing a snug-fitting mask with multiple cloth layers. Together, we can end this pandemic. Visit covid19.ca.gov today to learn more. Brought to you by the Center at Sierra Health Foundation. Getting families vaccinated against COVID-19 is an important step to bringing back joy for all of us. That's within reach now that the Pfizer vaccine is proven safe and effective for those 12 and older. This is the same vaccine millions of Californians have already gotten. California is even adding new vaccine clinics specifically for young people. Together, we can end the pandemic. Visit vaccinateall58.com or call 833-422-4255 to learn more.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
Are you still driving around with that check engine light on? AMCO will read and report the trouble codes on your vehicle for free. Call them today.
That's AMCO, AA-MCO.
Summer's here, and we're all venturing out more, enjoying the outdoors, long holiday weekends, and taking vacations. So let radio advertising put your business top of mind with customers who are on the move. Get your business on the air now with iHeartAdBuilder.com, the self-service solution for creating and running radio ads. Just click, listen, approve, then hear your ad on the radio. AdBuilder is the fast and cost-effective way to connect with customers wherever they're enjoying the summer. Sign up now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and none of it is allowed here. KFI AM 640 Los Angeles, Orange County.
And KOSG HD2.
It's 5 a.m. What did you miss?
It's time for Wake Up Call with Jennifer Jones